May 25th of 2020, he came back very late at night. I was sleeping. He tried to, have something with me. And I said, I'm not interested. I'm not in the mood. He pulled the comforter off my head. I said, I'm not in the mood. I don't want to do this. He insisted. I said, no, if you try to do anything funny, I'm going to call the cops. So when I said that, he got upset. He used the king size comforter, wrapped it around my head, had his hands on my neck with the comforter on my head. Mind you, it's a king size comforter. He was trying to suffocate me. I screamed so bad. I don't think I've ever screamed like that in my life.
If you don't mind, can you tell us why you're sharing your story?
I'm sharing my story because I want to raise awareness. I want other women to know what I went through, be aware of what is going on, some of the red flags in domestic, when you're with a partner and you see some signs of domestic violence or narcissistic abuse, much more about the gaslighting and some of the things that I went through when I was married. So I'm coming out here. I know there are some women out there going through what I went through. And I just want to raise awareness about the situation and help people to watch out for some of the red flags.
Okay. So what are you able to tell me about what happened?
It's been a journey. It's been a roller coaster. So 2015, when I came here to visit, someone I know, I came here August of 2015 to visit a family friend, and she connected me with my ex-husband at that point, saying, oh, this is a very good family friend. He's in school looking for someone to, have a relationship with and probably get married to them in the future. So at that point, I was like 30-something years old. I was interested. I met him. We hung out. We went out for a couple of drinks. I came here back to visit a couple of times, and we were in a long-distance relationship for 3 years. In 2017, we got engaged. And 2018, we got married. I moved here. When I moved here, 2018, I was 3 months. I was 3 months pregnant. And I'm not going to say I did not see some of the red flags while we were dating. I did see them. And for some reason, I said maybe because we are in a long-distance relationship. Probably that's why things are happening this way. When I move, it will be different. But I tell you the truth today, nothing changed. It was the same thing. It was a lot of abuse. There was physical abuse. There was financial abuse. There was emotional abuse. And it got really worse when I was pregnant.
Okay. So you made a mention about coming to visit a family friend and you guys met. So at the time you moved to the US, for how long have you guys been dating?
We dated from 2015, and then 2017, when I came here for Christmas break, we got engaged. We went to Broadmoor for a family dinner, and he proposed to me. 2017 December, and we started talking about the plans for me to move to the US. So May of 2018, I moved here. But before I moved here, we had signed. We went to the, we went to the DMV, and not the DMV, we went to the county, got a marriage license, and it was just the two of us. And I moved here May of 2018. At that point, I was like 3 months pregnant already.
Okay. Meaning before you moved, you were already pregnant?
Yes, I was pregnant.
And you said you're not going to say you did not see some of the red flags. You saw them. Tell us what some of the red flags you saw, but you kind of ignored.
Some of the red flags that I saw, one of it was, there was a time he came to visit me in Canada, and there was this lady that was constantly calling him. And I also saw evidence of some things that were not right that not really go into details to disclose them.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the red flags that I really, really saw was anger issue with him.
Mm-hmm.
He has anger issues. But that's one of the things that I ignored, and in the long run, it was an issue in the relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what were you thinking at the time? I mean, you ignored them. What was in your mind? What made you to ignore those signs?
I ignored them because I was desperate to get married or something, because someone watching would say maybe that's one of the reasons why she did ignore the red flags. At the back of my mind, it was more of like, it's a long distance relationship. Maybe when we are close, we are in the same place, we are together, that will go away, that will disappear. It was just me thinking, but to be honest with you, that did not change anything, because even when I moved here, the red flags, I saw some of the red flags still, and then the anger issue was still there, which was in the long run, a bigger issue in the relationship.
So, can you just give us more details about like the abuse? Can you tell us more?
Sure. I'm going to start with the financial abuse.
Okay.
So the financial part of it was more of, I'm a student. I'm going to school. I don't work 80 hours a week. I don't work 80 hours bi-weekly. I need money to take care of myself. At that point, I was like, this is my boyfriend. We're building something right here. So I had it. I'm not going to say I had plenty of money at that point, but I had enough to help. So I was supporting him, knowing I'm supporting my boyfriend. He's going to school.
Mm-hmm.
He's not working. At that point, we're not married. So once in a while, I didn't work this week. I need money to do so and so. I would, chip in here and there. But I later realized that's his MO. He has been doing that to other women as well. I would, dive deep into that. Later at some point of this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give him money. And then there was a point he requested more, and I did not have it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm sorry, but at this point, I don't have it. It was a big issue. But then I bought a ticket to come visit him when that happened.
From Canada.
So when I said, what I gave you is what I have. I don't have more. I came here to visit him at that point when he requested for the money. He did not pick me up at the airport. I was at the airport for 4 hours.
Wow.
He did not show up at the airport to pick me up because he was upset from me not giving him more of the money that he requested.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at the airport for 4 hours. I reached out to some people who could pick me up from the airport. But then they reached out to him like, hey, Shura is at the airport. She said she came in. She's been there. At that point, was there for like 2 hours. He said, I picked her up already. We in the car heading home. But I tell you the truth, I was still at the airport. He didn't pick me up because he was mad about me not giving him the money that he had requested. When we went home, there was an eviction notice on his door. Eviction notice.
From where?
From the leasing office, saying that he has not paid his rent, so they're evicting him. That was the first thing that we saw. Oh, they're evicting me. I told you I'm a student, I don't work much, I did not really have money to pay my rent this month. They're evicting me out of this place. Where am I going to go to? Me visiting my boyfriend and seeing that, I freaked out. So I went into my account, got money, and gave him to pay the rent. But I later realized that eviction notice was not real. He faked that eviction notice.
How did you know?
Because I later found out he was dating a girl in the leasing office, and he got that eviction notice from the girl in the leasing office. So the eviction notice was not real. It was faked. He got it from someone he was dating in the leasing office. I later found out, and the phone that he was using, he was not using it anymore, but there were text messages in that phone. You know how you have a phone?
The conversation history.
With the lady in the leasing office. She was like, if you don't give me what I'm asking you, I'm going to tell her that eviction notice was not real. So that's when I found out that the eviction notice, and that happened twice. I came here to visit twice and saw an eviction notice. And I saw from the text messages that the eviction notice was not real.
So, this incident of the eviction notice happened where he abandoned you at the airport.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And at this point, you didn't realize that there was danger ahead.
I knew, like at that point, that something is not right. something is off. But at the back of my head, I really wanted things to work. So I was pushing to give the relationship a try.
Okay. And so when you later on discovered that the eviction notice thing he told you about wasn't true, did you ask him or did you confront him about it?
I didn't.
Why?
I didn't at that point because I was pregnant. A lot was going on at that point. So I did not bring up the eviction notice incident. I didn't. But subsequently, I brought it up with another incident that had happened. So I did not immediately bring it up like, hey, this is what I found out, that the eviction notice was not real. But at some point, I brought it up. So another incident occurred, and it pushed me to bring up the eviction notice. So I did not bring it when I saw it immediately, but at some point, I brought it up.
So what was the incident that happened?
Well, I found out that I was not his first wife. I found out that he's been married twice. I was his third wife, actually.
Wow.
Yes, I found out that I was his third wife and not his first wife.
Wow. So how did you get to know?
I was pregnant when I sat in the living room and a picture framed from the wall fell down. When it fell down, I realized that on the floor, there were a couple of papers, like envelopes, in the frame, at the back of the frame. So I was curious. I decided to check. I said,
that's the wall frame?
The wall frame. I said, it fell down and then I have papers flying out of it. What's going on here? So I went there to check. That's when I found out there were 2 divorce certificates from it.
And you had never had a conversation?
He never told me he was married. First lady in Maryland and the other lady is in Toronto. That's what I heard. So I was actually his third wife and not his first wife. So I confronted him with that and the incident of the eviction notice. That was the first time he physically abused me.
And you had already moved to the US?
Yes.
And so, so because you asked him?
I confronted him with the issue of the marriage, the divorce certificate that I found out that he's been married twice.
Mm-hmm.
I was a third wife. And also, during the conversation, he was not happy that I found out about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then secondly, I brought up the issue of the eviction notice,
mm-hmm.
mentioning to him that I saw that the eviction notice from the previous apartment was
mm-hmm.
not real, it was fake. He got it from a lady he had an affair with in the leasing office. So that led to something else, and he physically abused me when I was 6 months pregnant and locked me up in the bathroom when I was with my cell phone.
So how did you get yourself out?
He came back later at some point and took me out.
And you didn't do anything?
I didn't. And the next day, I was trying to put paperwork for my immigration status because I had moved from Canada. I need to change my status here.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my laptop with me. I was trying to put up the paperwork and fill the application form. You know how that goes. So he came in the morning and was talking to me. Oh, I'm heading to work. There's no breakfast today. Because of the previous incident that happened the previous day, physically abusing me and locking me up in the bathroom. I was not talking to him. He was asking me about breakfast. I didn't say anything. He got upset, used the shoes that he was holding to wear to work, and hit my laptop, and the screen automatically just went black.
Wow. And you still didn't do anything?
I didn't, but I opened up to a friend, one of my classmates. I did for the first time. She was in some part of Canada. I just can't remember where exactly she was. The Kitchener, between Kitchener and Toronto, one of those places. So I reached out to her, opened up to her, telling her about how he had physically abused me the day before, and that morning he destroyed my laptop. And she was like, "You gotta call the cops. It's not gonna stop.
Okay.
You gotta call the cops." But I didn't. What I told her was, he's going to school to be a pharmacist. I do not want anything that will ruin or destroy his career. I was actually protecting my abuser.
So, I mean, in all of this, did you at any point contact any of his family members, whether his mom or dad, his parents? Or...
No, I didn't.
Why?
Honestly, to be honest with you, I was shocked when it happened. I was shocked, though I had seen some of the red flags, the anger issues and everything, but I did not believe that at some point he would raise his hand to hit me, even when I'm pregnant and lock me up in the bathroom. So I guess the shock of it and all of that took me by surprise. But the second incident where he physically abused me and, hit my mouth again, I told his stepmom and I sent a picture to the stepmom. And she told me to call the cops. So she did. She said, if you don't call the cops, I'm going to call the cops and send him over to your place. I said, no, he's going to school to be a pharmacist. I do not want anything that will ruin him or ruin his career. I was protecting him.
Wow.
I did. I was protecting him.
Wow. And at this point, it did not occur to you that both of you need counseling?
He thought the problem, I was the problem. He thought I was a problem.
How?
So at that point, if you think, if he already at the back of his head, I was a problem. So there's nothing, I did not even think about, going for couples therapy or something like that, because he knew he was a perfect man. Because the day he hit me and went to work, he came back, he said, I called. Can I sit down here? Let's talk about your bad fashion.
That's what he told you?
That's what he told me. So I'm the problem. He's not the problem. He's hitting me because I'm the bad one.
Well, I mean, but did he outrightly tell you, like, I'm asking because, I mean, I'm just curious to know if you had a conversation of you guys going for counseling based on, like, the abuse that was going on. Did you bring up the conversation?
No, I didn't.
Why?
I didn't bring up the conversation, to be honest with you, because I did not think it was going to help at that point.
Okay.
I really did not see or thought that it was going to help us at that point. I believe that we needed more than that just counseling, because in the long run, I realized that I was in there just by myself. It's a different ball game if it's two people, in a relationship fighting and it's not working and they're trying to make it work. And it's something else when it's just you in there, even though you're married, but it's just you in there. It's not like the other person is trying to make things work with you. They're trying to use you. They're married, but they're not married, if you know what that means to you.
And when you say they're trying to use you, what do you mean?
It's more of the financial benefit. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a rich woman, but the little that I had, he was extorting me and getting...
Even when you came to the U.S.?
When I came to the U.S.
Were you working at the time?
I was not working because I had just moved here. I did not have my immigration papers at that point to work, but still, he knew that I had money in Canada. And how did he know that I have money in Canada? He came to visit me in May 2017. He was out there for 2 weeks for my birthday. I think at some point I went to work. I used to have like a small basket under my table in my living room. He went there, saw mails from my bank, took a picture of the mail, and you know how at that point, 5-6 years ago, it was more of like not electronic mail that you get about your account balance and all of that. So he took pictures of my account balance and kept it on his phone. So he knew how much I had in my savings account. So when I moved here, he was constantly telling me, you have money in your account. You should open an account here and save the money in there. I'm like, what make you think I have money in my account in Canada? I do not have money in my account in Canada. But he opened up, showed someone the picture that he has on his phone to prove that I have money and I'm not helping him. Mind you, I just moved here from Canada. I was not working, but he knew that I had money in my account in Canada because when he visited me in May 2017, he had taken a picture of my account balance because of the basket that I had under my coffee table. in my living room. He took a picture of it and had it on his phone. So I'm looking back, I'm convinced that when he saw that, that's when he came back here, bought a ring, and engaged me.
You were still giving him money.
I was giving him money and I was supporting to maintain,
Pay the bills?
to pay the bills.
So how much were you contributing?
He was paying, at that point, we lived in a low income apartment. So it was roughly like $950 for the rent. But then when it comes to the grocery and all of that stuff, AT&T bill, I was paying. I'll give him the money.
For AT&T?
Yes, I'll buy grocery, every other thing I'll do.
So, and you did that every month?
Every month. I also, before I forget, before I moved here, he was like, oh yeah, I know I don't have so much money, but I'm expecting something. When you come here, I'm going to, put in your paperwork with the immigration, the medical, and all of that. You know how expensive that can be. But when I moved here, I did it by myself. I spent roughly $4,000 changing my immigration status and applying for a work permit, including the medical and everything. Yes, I did that. Roughly $4,000. He did not spend a dime to file for me with the immigration.
So are you saying you paid for your immigration paperwork?
I did. 100%. I did.
Do you think he wasn't able to pay for your immigration paperwork because he was a student at the time?
Yes, he was a student, but he was working part-time. He was a pharmacist technician. So he was a student, but he was working part-time. I mean, it's one thing if you don't have the funds to completely support, and it's another thing if you know what I mean, like shipping something. I mean, if the total is $4,000 and you're bringing in $500, just to support the effort. That, I don't have this amount, I don't have the complete $4,000, but I do have $1,500 or $1,000 to help. You with your immigration, application and everything. That's different than rather than not contributing anything towards the cost. Because at the end of the day, I didn't get anything from him. And looking back, I feel like it's coming from a place where I already know how much money she has in her account in Canada. I have a picture of it. So I'm not going to contribute. So that's the financial abuse right there. I mean, we are married. You're telling me move here. I mean, we have to start a family and all of that stuff and move here. And I put myself through the process where I'm, paying for my own application, for my own immigration application, having to do all of that stuff, going for the medical. The day I was going for the medical, it was January. You know how it can be very bad. Winter in Colorado. I drove from here to Fort Logan. It's an hour drive. We did snow and everything. It was like an hour, 30 minutes. He did not take time off work to go to help me with the driving. At that point, when I was preparing for the immigration paperwork and everything, so before you go for the interview, you know how that goes. You need to go there with the medical result and all of that. So the hospital must have sent that result to the immigration already before you go for the interview. So he did not help just to drive. I mean, it's something else when you don't have the means to do it. But then let's say that willpower. You don't have the money, you don't have the finances to help support that immigration application. But what are you doing on the side? I need someone to drive me to Fort Logan to help for the medical, appointment. I did not get that from you. I drove with our son when he was 3 months old in the car to go get that done. It was snowing at some point. I had to park at the roadside because I could not even see the car in front of me. That's risky. And I came back home. I met him at home. He was at home doing nothing. He was off that day, but could not drive me for that medical appointment. That speaks volume. That's huge for me. It's just the abuse was unending. It just did not stop. Even after that, when we had to go for the interview, the immigration interview proper, he told me he was not going. He told me outrightly that he was not going to go for the immigration interview.
Why?
That he doesn't want to go. He told me people pay a lot of money to get their paperwork in the U.S. Do I think I'm just going to come to the U.S. and get it for free?
Why did he say that? when he was the one who asked you to move so you guys could build a family together.
That's the abuse, the abusive part of it. Like, I want you to move here. Yes, I'm saying I want you to move here. Let's start a family. We have a child and all of that. But the words were not matching the actions.
And going back to him not helping you to pay for your immigration application, did you at any point ask him?
I did.
Or you just assumed?
I did. I asked him. I said, I know you might not have $4,000 to support for the immigration application, but you're working part-time. You can support it with $500. You can support it by driving me to this medical appointment.
Mm-hmm.
No, I did not get that support from him. Instead, he told me he was not going. He did not only tell me, he told a family friend that I don't want to disclose here, that he was not going to go for the immigration interview. And I worked so hard. I had a conversation with him. I practically begged him and told him, my life depends on this. I moved from Canada already. I have a child in the US. I need to stay here. So you need to go for this interview. I already paid the application fees, the medical fees that we went there for the. I went there for the appointment. I need to go for this interview. Like, you are the one. I have your name on there as the principal applicant. We have to go for the. You know how the immigration interview goes.
Yeah, he's the petitioner.
He's the petitioner. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. So I didn't have him. He did not want to go.
But did he go?
At the end of the day, he went. He went because I had told him, I promised him that when we come back, I know you're struggling with your car. You needed a new car. I'm expecting some money. When I get the money, I will help you or support you to get a new car since we are struggling now. So when I told him that, he was very excited and became much more interested to go for the interview. So that's how I got him, or I convinced him to go to the interview. I told him I'm expecting some money from Canada. I see now you're struggling, and for real, he was struggling with his car. I see you struggling with your car. You need a new one. I mean, we keep fixing it every week. At this point, we just need a new one. So if you show up for this interview, I have that money. I'll support you. So basically, that's the financial abuse I'm talking about. So I knew that he wanted me to give him some money before he could go for the interview. So when I told him that I was going to support him when I get that money to buy a new car, he showed up for the interview.
So what you're saying is the kind of relationship you had with your ex-husband was a very transactional type.
100% I would say that, yes.
Where
it depends on what I give him. I'm not even asking him to say that, right?
And you kept doing it.
I stopped at some point. That's when everything went south. So I stopped after knowing that, okay, he was into it more because of the financial part of it. I've been supporting him and he keeps, getting money from me. When I was looking for a job, so when I came here, he's like an elder brother to me. He had reached out to say, oh, now that you're home, you're waiting for your immigration paperwork, you can start looking into the IT side of things. So I told him, I'm like, IT is too technical. I'm not, that is not.
You told who?
The family friend who was trying to introduce me to IT.
Okay.
So I told him, I said, IT is not really for me. I don't think that's something I want to do because it's very technical. But he encouraged me and said, there's some part of IT that is not very technical. You can look into it and send that to me. I started looking at the information. So with that, I, took some certifications, and at some point I got a job. I got an IT job. Even when I was looking for the IT job, he was not supportive. He told me I have an accent. No one is going to hire me. The cheat sheets that I had on the wall to, how you have interviews like the first phase, the 30 minutes where preparation, then they'll call you for the face-to-face a part of it. I had some cheat sheets on the wall to just help prep me when I'm taking that interview. He destroyed the cheat sheets. I have videos of him destroying the cheat sheets. At that time, I just, when I was looking for the job, started applying and looking for the job. My son was 6 months old, so I put on a little bit of weight. So I went to H&M, I got some stuff. They said, business casual. I was looking for stuff to start work. So I bought stuff, kept them at home, went to Canada to visit, family and friends and, show them like, oh, okay, I had a baby. I'm back to visit just so you guys can, see my son. I was supposed to start work August 19th of 2019. I came back from Canada, from that trip in Canada. He had the clothes that I bought, my bras, my undies. Surprisingly, it was not at home.
When you came back?
When I came back from that Canada trip, he threw everything.
What was his reason? You left for Canada. Did you tell him?
He knew I was going to Canada. He wanted both of us to go, but I did not have money to buy him a ticket. I just had money for my own ticket. And at that point, our son was 6 months old, so I really didn't know how to buy a ticket for him. I told him, if you want to go to Canada with me, that's fine. But then you need to get your ticket. Because I did not have money to buy a ticket for you. The times that he visited me in Canada, I bought a ticket for him. 2 times he visited me in Canada, I bought him a ticket.
So are you saying even when you guys were dating and he would come to Canada for visit, you were the one paying for his trip?
That's right. He said he's a student. He's going to school. He doesn't have money. And I mean, this is one thing that I'm not ashamed to put out there.
Okay.
I loved him. I was so much in love with him, and some of the things that he did not matter because I was in love with him. And I guess that, that part of me loving him so much blinded me from actually saying things. But at some point in the long run, I woke up from slumber and I could really see things, and I said, this is not how it should be. So I started speaking up for myself and withdrawing some funds. It became a very big problem in our marriage.
And you're saying things got worse when you decided to stop giving him money?
Yes.
What are the things that kind of like really got out of hand?
The abuse intensified. It was emotional abuse. The physical part, he did not physically abuse me. I'm going to get to a point where that came up again, but it was more of the emotional abuse. You have an accent, no one is going to hire you. At the point, I'm taking interviews on the phone, and he would just go around me and be like, I don't know why you're wasting your time. You're not going to get this job. Your accent is horrible. I don't know why you're doing this. You're not going to get this job. But the ways of God are not the ways of man. I fought for myself. I said, I went for a series of interviews. I had like 6. At some point, I sat down and I was beginning to doubt myself because, some of the things that he said was getting to me. At some point, it will get to you. I'm human, right?
Yeah, it was playing.
So I said, maybe I'm not getting this job because for real, my accent is really bad. Maybe I'm not getting this job because, like he said, IT is not really for me. I've gone for interviews. Like, I went to Boulder. I went to, DTC, like the Denver Tech Center. I've taken interviews in so many different, big companies, and I'm not here from them. So I was losing hope. I said, yeah, maybe for real, like you said, the accent might be an issue. IT is not really for me. But,
I mean, he was saying IT is not for you. Did he at any point tell you the kind of career you could get into?
Yes, he did. He said I should go to Aurora Community College and go register and take the CNA class. But I told him, I said, not trying to talk down on people who do it. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm just saying, I don't have a passion for that. I don't see myself doing it. That's not a career path that I wanted to pursue because, at the end of the day, we have to do what we enjoy doing, right? What I'm doing right now, I've always been passionate about getting into IT, being a project manager. So that's what I've always been passionate about. So, in Canada, I did not really, had the opportunity to do that. But when I came here and I had the opportunity, so I decided to grab it. So telling me to go start from, where he wanted me to start from, I said, to be honest with you, that's not for me. I don't have a passion for that. I'm not going to pursue that. That was a problem. So when I ended up fast forward when I ended up, getting the job, it was a huge problem at home too. Going to work was an issue. He said, our son is just 9 months old. Am I saying I'm going to abandon him because I got a job or something? But I've seen women in the US go back to work with their kids just being three weeks old. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So why is my case different? Why do you want me to stay at home and take care of our 9? I mean, that's a great thing to do. But at that point, we just had one income, and it was me. Mm-hmm. I thought having that job will maybe eliminate some of our problems mm-hmm. that we were having in the marriage, mm-hmm. but it just escalated. Everything went out off the roof at that point.
So he didn't like the fact that you got the job?
He didn't like it. And I thought maybe I was making things up in my head by thinking that he didn't like the job. But I tell you the truth, November 8th of 2019, mm-hmm. he showed up at my job. Showed up at my job to report me to my manager that I faked my resume and did not deserve the position, that I should be fired. When he did not succeed to do that, he sent an email to HR with the subject, request for a fraudulent employee. I thought he was kidding, but I looked at the email, the HR email. That person, I went to the system to check the name. Mm-hmm. That person exists. So how did he get that information if he doesn't work in the company? So apparently what happened is he called the customer line, and then he said he has something to report about an employee being fraudulent, and that employee is me. Mm-hmm. So they told him, okay, this is an email, send your report, everything, through this email to HR. So he sent an email, and I had a colleague at work. I confided in her and told her this is what is happening. Mm-hmm. Even the day he came to my job, mm-hmm. I told the colleague at work, he's here to report me that I faked my resume. She said, I don't know how you're going to do this, but you have to get him out of here like ASAP. He's not supposed to be here.
Okay.
So I went out to meet him. I'm like, what are you doing here? He said,
at your work?
Yes. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm here to report that you faked your resume. You're not supposed to be here. I said, even if I faked my resume, even if, mm-hmm. you shouldn't be the one coming here. You're my husband. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be working, and we're supposed to be on the same team. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to be here trying to expose me. Mm-hmm. Even if you claim that I faked my resume, but I'm doing the job. It's been 3 months and they're not complaining. It means I'm doing something right. Mm-hmm. So before I went out to meet him, I went to security and said, my husband is here. At that time, we were still married. We were living together in an apartment in Inglewood. I said, my husband is here. I don't like the feel of it. I need you to send me out with some, security guys who can help watch me while I'm having a conversation with him. Mm-hmm. So because I work there and I know some of them, mm-hmm. when I went out to see him, actually 2 people went out with me, a lady and a guy, but they stood like very close to us, mm-hmm. and they were just watching from afar. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, why are you here? What are you doing here? Oh, I'm here to tell your manager that you don't qualify for this job. You faked your resume. You're not supposed to be here. This is Trump's America. I'm out to tell the truth. I need to expose you. You have to be exposed today. You faked your resume. And at the end of the day, he left without talking to my manager because the security guys were like, we cannot let you talk to her manager. Mm-hmm. That's not the protocol. If you have a complaint like that, you will need to reach out to HR, mm-hmm. have that conversation, then you go from there. So he came back, reached out to HR, and then they gave him an email. He actually sent an email to HR, mm-hmm. and it got to my manager. So when my manager came to me in one of our one-on-ones and he was like, you got a report, I said, yeah, I got to tell you the truth.
Okay, hold on. This is like the second time after he had sent the first email.
No, I'm connecting. Maybe I'm going back and forth. Mm-hmm. But when he did not succeed to have a conversation with my manager, mm-hmm. they gave him a number to call to mm-hmm. report to HR. And that's the channel. Mm-hmm. So for something like that, you have to call HR, mm-hmm. And then you go from there. So he called HR. I have a picture. He sent me a picture mm-hmm. with the email that was given to him after he spoke to HR. Mm-hmm. He's like, verify who this person is mm-hmm. before you say I'm bluffing. He sent me a screenshot. I do have it. And I checked for real. That person, we have that name in the system in our HR. He sent an email, request for a fraudulent employee. He started typing the email and sent me a screenshot. But at some point, I believe that he actually sent that email because my manager came back to me when HR reached out to him. So at that point, I opened up to him. I said, I'm going through abuse in my marriage, and this is this and this is it. He was like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I believe at this point you know what to do. Let me know if you need help. You should, go out there and look for the resources that you need to get this resolved. But I did open up to him and tell him it's coming from abusive husband. And as God to have it, it was thrown out of the window.
Okay.
Yes.
So kind of you were able to
get that resolved.
From your job.
Yeah, just talking to my manager, explaining to him that I'm going through some, abuse at home from my partner.
So when you got that resolve from work, did he at any point realize that was wrong?
I don't think so. You know why?
Why?
Because some of these things, or like what happened to me, it's been like 4-5 years, or let's say 5 years. Because 2018, more than 5-6 years. So sometimes I'll go back and forth, say some of the things, and then, connect it here and there. I don't think he realized that what he did was wrong. Because even while I was looking for a job, I got my phone line disconnected for 5 days. We had the family plan. I got that line disconnected for 5 days. I had to rush to Walmart to pick up, a phone that I could use at that point to, talk to the recruiters who were trying to reach out to me.
Okay, so what you're saying is you don't think he was remorseful because during the process where you were having different interviews, he disconnected you from the family plan.
He disconnected. Not disconnected, actually. He suspended my phone line.
He suspended your phone line.
Yeah.
From the family plan.
For 5 days.
For 5 days.
Yes.
And you had to get a new line.
Yeah. And a family friend had to reach out to him, telling him to reinstate my line.
Okay.
And when he did that after 2 days of them talking to him, he came back home. He's like, did anything change? I said, I don't know what you're talking about.
And at this point, because it's like things kind of like where things had escalated,
That's right.
So, and at this point, you didn't think it was important to let his parents know what is going on. Did you guys have somebody you all talk to when you have serious marital problems? Did you guys have?
Yes. So I had opened up to his dad about him trashing my stuff. When I came back from Canada, I could now find the stuff that I had bought. My undies, my bras, my, dresses that I bought to start with. I opened up to his dad about it. And he told me he didn't want to get him upset. He was not going to ask him about, what happened, the incident. But then he would advise me to leave the house with my son and go live with, my son's godfather. So I lived with them for 2 months before I started work actually from their place.
Your son's godfather's place?
Yes. So I moved out of the house August 18 of 2019. That was a Sunday. I started work Monday, August 19, 2019. So when I started work, I did not start work from our place. I had moved out because, I discovered that the stuff that I bought to start work, I couldn't find any of them. So basically he trashed them till then. I've not seen any of them. So I called his dad. I was, boarding out. He said, "Back out. Take your son. I don't want to ask him. I don't want him to be upset." Those were his exact words.
So you know why his dad said he doesn't want him to be upset? So he's not going to talk to him?
I have to be honest with you. I cannot think for someone else.
Okay.
I can only think for myself. But then he advised me to move out with my son and go live with my son's godfather. So I moved out and I lived with them for 2 months.
So and when you lived with your son's godfather for 2 months, is that when you eventually filed for divorce, or you guys got back together before things went out of hands?
So I moved out August. I went back home October.
So you moved back in?
I moved back in.
Okay.
I moved back in because it's some story that I don't want to go into details and start talking about it. But I did move back in with him October. I went back. I moved out August of 2019. Went back October of 2019. Then when I moved back in October of 2019, I really thought that I'm giving it a second chance and it will work. And like maybe, there are some things that I did not do that if I do, it will work. I don't know. It's just something about, making it work. That's all I had at the back of my mind, even with the abuse, everything going on. I know people, it's easier for us to say, oh, why didn't she, call the cops, or why didn't she move out? It's just something about, you being in that situation and thinking, oh, maybe I've not exhausted all my options. Maybe if I do, try this, it's gonna work. It's just, but I tell you the truth, the abuse cycle never ends until you check out. And even after you check out, we are getting to the post-separation abuse part of it. But I did move back in with him October of 2019. But guess what? He checked out. He left the house.
Okay, hold on. So, at the time you moved back, because you said you moved back because you thought you were giving another try. Maybe you have to do some extra effort to see how it can work. Were you saying this, were you saying this because while you were away or while you were at your son's godfather's house, he at some point apologized?
No,
or you were just assuming?
I was just assuming. He never came back. He was never remorseful. We did not have that conversation of him apologizing, saying the things he did to me to hurt me and all of that stuff. No, we never had that conversation. So I decided to move back in on my own accord. I did not move in because he was remorseful or he came and he wanted us to have a conversation about me moving back in. As a matter of fact, when I did live with my son's godfather,
mm-hmm.
he will come in there to still, when they're not around, he will come in there to still abuse me verbally. He will come in to verbally abuse me.
When you say verbally, what are the things he was saying?
That's some of the things that I cannot really say on here, but talking down on me, making me feel more like less of myself, like no self-worth and all of that. So, yeah.
If you don't mind, can you give an example?
There was a time he told me that my ties are thick.
Your ties are thick?
Yeah. That he's doing
to your face?
Yes.
He said that to your face?
Yes. He's doing me a favor, being with me, because men really don't like women with thick ties. Yes.
So he's doing you a favor to be with you?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, in a nutshell, I did not go back because he came back to me for us to have a conversation about him being remorseful. Like I said, I went back there on my own accord. And some things had happened, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to go into details to say that, but I wanted to go back. I went back, but things did not really change. It didn't, because December of 2019, he moved out of the house. He checked out, but before he checked out, he had disconnected the internet, went out, disconnected the TV cable and everything. So when he checked out, we're not watching TV anymore because it was disconnected. There was no internet, and then he went with the remote. So even when I had the job, some days I'll come back home and try to just study and get myself ready for the next day. There are probably days that I'll go for days in the house weeks that I'll be in the house with no internet. With no internet. He disconnected the internet.
And this was after you moved back to the house?
Even before I left the house.
Okay.
Yes. that the internet will be disconnected. He will disconnect the internet. From disconnecting my phone line, suspending my phone line to disconnecting the internet. Yes.
Okay, so I am interested to know what actually led to the divorce. Can you explain in depth what led to you finally saying, I am done?
The abuse escalated. It got worse by the day. It was horrible.
After you moved back?
After I moved back. I think I missed the part where I had this part of it, I really don't like talking about it because it's very sensitive. It has to do with my son.
Mm-hmm.
He was 5 months old and I was trying to escape from him. He was coming to physically abuse me.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to escape from him. I have to be honest with you. I'm not ashamed to say it. I forgot I had my son.
Mm-hmm.
I was just fighting for my own self.
Mm-hmm.
He fell off from my hand and directly to the floor.
You're 6 months old son?
He was 5 months old.
5 months, okay.
The next day I realized that he was crying uncontrollably.
Your son?
Yes. I tried to touch him. I got to his leg. He screamed so bad. He was not a crybaby. So I said something is not right. I took him to his son's godfather and the wife was like, take him to urgent care.
Okay.
So I opened up to them and I told them the incident.
So you guys were fighting?
Yeah. No, not fighting. He was coming to hit me. Physically hit me. And I was running away from him, screaming, if you touch me, I'm going to call the cops. I'm tired of your abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process, when he approached me, I was trying to hit me. I was trying to, protect myself. I had forgotten that I had somebody. So
the baby fell off.
He fell off from my hands. And I took him to urgent care the next day. And they said he has a broken limb in his right leg. And they referred us to Children's Hospital. We were out there in Children's Hospital and they came back and said they have to put a cast on his leg.
5 months old.
So basically I have a picture of him with the cast on his leg when he was 5 months old.
I think you sent me that picture.
Yes. Yeah, bad. I knew at that point that someday I would check out. I just didn't know when I would check out, but I knew someday I would check out. So when he checked out of the house, December of 2019, COVID started 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that lease has expired as well.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he checked out, remember my name was not on the lease, but I was paying.
Mm-hmm.
I paid, and in February of 2020, I looked for an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment, and he got news that I'm moving from that place because I had informed the leasing office that I'm moving. They told him that, okay, she said she'll be moving. Is he aware? I don't know. But he came back and said, oh, that was the time he said, oh, we can make things work. For the sake of Janos, we have Janos, we have to do everything work for Janos. He's not supposed to grow up in a broken home. Let's make this work for Janos. I believed him.
Janos, your son?
Yes. I believed him. I believed him at that point. And we moved in together. We did. We moved in together. When we moved in together, that was February of 2020. We went to the new place. I tell you the truth. Things did not change. It got even more messier. That days I'm working from home with the COVID and everything, with COVID and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I would be in meetings. He would disconnect the internet. I'm in a meeting and I was just here.
Everything is off.
Meeting has been disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
How? I'm walking to the living room to check. The cables are down. He disconnected the internet. I'm paying, mind you, the apartment was on my name. I'm paying the bills. I'm paying the daycare. I'm paying everything, literally. He did not pay a dime in that apartment. The apartment was on my name, everything. But he would not let me work. He would disconnect the internet at will. Anytime I'm in a meeting, he disconnects the internet. But at that time, I was already opening up more to some friends and family members about the abuse. And I told them, I'm getting to the point where I can't do this anymore. I'll have to leave. May 25th of 2020, he came back very late at night. I was sleeping. He tried to, have something with me. And I said, I'm not interested. I'm not in the mood because you treat me like SHIT. I don't see any point why we should be intimate. So when I refused, he pulled the comforter off my head. I said, I'm not in the mood. I don't want to do this. He insisted. I said, no, if you try to do anything funny, I'm going to call the cops. So when I said that, he got upset. He used the king-size comforter, wrapped it around my head, had his hands on my neck with the comforter on my head. Mind you, it's a king-size comforter. He was trying to suffocate me. I screamed so bad. I don't think I've ever screamed like that in my life. I screamed so bad. The neighbors heard me screaming. And he called the cops. So after I screamed so bad and he let go of me, midnight, I heard the doorbell ring. I went to check it with the cops. Oh, we had the neighbors called us that they heard a female screaming from this apartment. Was that you? When I opened the door and the cops asked me that question, he came. When he heard the cops talking, he came right directly behind me. He's like, Roro, is everything okay? I turned and looked at him. I looked at the cop and I walked away. They knew that something was off.
So who was saying, Roro, is everything okay? Your ex-husband?
Yes.
When the cops came in?
Yes.
And what did you say?
I didn't say anything. That was my chance. That was my opportunity to tell the cops everything that he's been doing so they can take him and take care of him. But I still did not expose him. I was protecting my abuser.
And you told the cops nothing?
I didn't say a word. They knew something was off. I didn't say anything. I looked at him, I looked at the cop, and I walked away. I didn't say anything.
And the cops left?
They left because I did not say anything. When I requested the police report the day they came to my house, they described me on the police report as the aggressor. You know why?
Why?
I was the one screaming at the top of my voice when he covered my head with a king-size comforter and was trying to suffocate me. I screamed so bad. Somebody help me. Somebody help. The neighbors heard me screaming. Called the cops. They came, showed up, and I still did not report him.
And you didn't think you were shooting yourself on the leg for doing that?
I would not say I was shooting myself on the leg. Honestly, for me, at that point, I wanted to check out. I just wanted to take my son and leave an abusive man.
So did you leave? I mean,
I
if you didn't, you're saying at this point, you knew that was it. You were done, But then when the report came, on that report, it was written there that you are the aggressor.
They said the female seems to be the aggressor. I only saw the police report when I had filed for divorce and was looking for my evidence to prove domestic violence. That's when I saw the police report. So that happened in May. Mind you, I saw the police report sometime that would be fast forward to 2021. July of 2021 when I was putting the paperwork together to go get the divorce finalized and had to look for an attorney to do all of that. So I requested for stuff that will help me to prove the abuse.
Yeah, you were shooting yourself on the leg. It's because you were, the neighbors heard a female voice. And so definitely when they called the cops, the report they gave was, we are hearing a female voice screaming. And so probably that's why they wrote that you were the aggressor.
Yes, that's right.
That's what happened.
That's what happened. June 22nd of 2020, there was something happened that was the final straw. And even though I knew that at some point I'll be checking out, but that really helped me. It facilitated the process of me checking out. And that was it. So he actually I knew that he, was having extramarital affairs, but then I did not know with who he was having with.
Mm-hmm.
There are days that I'll be on the table trying to study.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I have a meeting the next day. I'll try to get ready for the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And he sits on the table, and with the WhatsApp call, you really cannot, and he didn't have a headset on. So he's talking to someone, video call on WhatsApp. He's like, I can't believe I just left your place and I'm missing you. So that conversation, when he's having that conversation with the other party,
Mm-hmm.
I'm on there on the table, and mind you, he doesn't have his headset on. So whatever conversation he's having with the other person, I hear everything. So basically, he sits in front of me. He will sit in front of me and call the other person, and call his girlfriend
Mm-hmm.
in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
So June 22nd of 2020,
Mm-hmm.
After work, I was just sitting in the room, and at that point, our son was 1 year and 6 months old. So that was a very curious age. So he would run into the bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
and when sometimes they're quiet, they're doing something funny, you gotta check up on them. So that day after work, I was on the phone actually talking to a friend in Canada, and I called my son 3 times. I did not hear him. I was like, what is he doing? Let me go out there and find out what he's doing. So being on the phone and talking to that friend, I did not realize he was not home.
Mm-hmm.
My ex-husband was not home
Mm-hmm.
at that point. But then, as I was on the phone in the room, I did not realize that he came back home and was actually in the room with our son. So when he was quiet, he was actually with his dad in the other room. So when I did not hear him, I called him 3 times and I did not hear him. I thought he was actually in the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like doing something funny, because that's what kids at that age he would do. He would go to the bathroom and play with water and all of that stuff. So I called him 3 times. I did not hear him. I left the room. I was still on the phone with the friend in Ghana. I'm like, hey, hold on a second. I need to check what my son is doing. He's quiet. He might be doing something funny.
Mm-hmm.
So when I said that, I left the room. I was heading to the living room.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lady sitting on the couch in my living room, holding his phone, taking a video of me.
Holding your ex-husband's phone.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a video of me. She sat on the couch in the living room. As I walked into the living room, he was holding his phone, taking a video of me as I walked from the bedroom to the living room. So when I saw her, I was like, excuse me? Who are you and what are you doing here? She opened her mouth and said, I'm not here for you. When she said, I'm not here for you, you know what resonated with me?
Mm.
The voice. Remember I told you he would sit in front of me and call someone?
Mm-hmm.
So when she said, I'm not here for you, I'm not your friend, this way her exact words.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not your friend, I'm not here for you. When she said, I'm not your friend, I'm not here for you, the voice that I heard when he's having that conversation, the lady he was talking to, he has been talking to on the phone, that was the same lady. It was the same lady. How do I know? She's Francophone. She got, how the Francophone, they'll have, try to speak in English, they have that accent, right? On the phone.
The French accent.
The French accent, thank you very much. So she had that French accent. And at that point, I knew the lady that he's been talking on the phone with is in my house. I picked up my phone. I called the cops. At first, I told her to leave my house. She said she's not here for me. She, stood up from the couch where she was sitting, walked straight into the guest room where my ex-husband was in, packing his stuff to leave the house. And when I said leave my house, he came out of the room and told me, she's my friend, leave her alone. She's here for me. I said, but then I don't know her. I want her to leave my house.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, mind you, she still had the phone. Recording in my house, recording me in my house.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then she brought it in front of me. I said, take that thing off me. She had the phone right in
front of your face.
Yes. I said, take that thing off me and leave my house. So when I did that, the phone almost fell, but it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Leave my house, but she didn't. She walked past me, went straight into the guest room, and met him inside and was helping him to pack his stuff. So at that point, And the stuff that he was packing, she was helping him. She was basically like folding his underwear, putting in the, helping him put it in the bag.
So you went into the guest room?
She went into the guest room.
So how did you know she was basically, did you go in there too?
The door was open.
Okay.
I could see.
Okay.
So at that point, remind you, our son is inside.
With them?
With them. I called the cops. When I did, she ran out. She ran out. She ran out even without putting on her shoes. So when I called the cops, she ran out, ran out, picked her shoes in front of, like where she left them when she walked in, and she ran out. So when she ran out, in my head, I'm like, if I had to explain this to someone, how do I explain? I don't even have a picture of her. I don't have a video. I don't have anything to prove to someone. Like, hey, do you know this person? She was in my house today. So something told me, run after her and take a video as well. Or take pictures. That way you can, do your investigation and find out who she really is. Mm-hmm. So I ran after her. I took videos. I took pictures. She was hiding her face. And I was just screaming in the video. I'm like, you come to my house. You are live on Facebook. I'm making a video. You'll be live on Facebook. I'm letting everybody know that you came to my house. I know you guys were having an affair. You have the guts to come to my house today. And all of that. So she took out the jacket that she had on. Mm-hmm. Because it was summer. It was June, like really hot. She had like a tiny jacket on. Mm-hmm. She took out that jacket. I have the videos. Mm-hmm. She took out the jacket. She was covering her face. She was saying, leave me alone. My ex-husband came carrying our son and told her, walk behind me. I have all the videos, everything. But the video from when she was inside the apartment, I don't have it because that was taken with my ex-husband's phone. I don't have that video, but I have the video of her like outside of the apartment when I ran after her, taking those videos. So when
hang on a second. So is that because I know you have given me some evidence?
Yes.
So is that the video where you were saying, why are you hiding your face?
Yes, that's
why
the
are you
video.
hiding your face?
Yes, that's the video. She was hiding her face because I told her she's live on Facebook, everybody will be seeing her. Mm-hmm. So she took out the jacket and she was trying to cover her face. Mm-hmm. But then I succeeded and I took some videos where, their face was not really on some of the videos, mm-hmm. but someone who knows her in just, like the side of her mm-hmm. could tell who she is. Mm-hmm. So I took those videos and I sent it out to someone. I said, this lady was in my house today. Can you help me identify her? Mm-hmm. And that person was like, yeah, I know her. I know where she lives. She was living with her elder sister mm-hmm. in this community, and her elder sister is married. So I called the person that her elder sister is married to because it's someone I know, mm-hmm. but I just know him like someone in the community. When I meet him, I'm like, hey, hello, hi. And that day I had to look for his number and call him. So I called him and said, hey, Miss so-and-so, I just sent you some videos and some pictures. Do you have time to look at them now while we're talking? And he's like, sure, why not? He looked at the videos and the pictures and he was like, what? Where did you get this from? I said, well, she was in my house today. I'm just sending them to you so you know she was in my house today. And her elder sister's husband, was like, now that she's in your place today, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I know about your husband and, what I know about both of them. So basically what he knows about the girl in question. Mm-hmm. And of course, that time he was my husband. We were still married. Mm-hmm. So he explained to me that my husband would come there to pick her up mm-hmm. and take her out and all of that. But I said, he was married. You didn't tell your sister-in-law that the man who has been picking her up is married? He said, I did. I told her that the guy who is picking her up is married. And her response was, yeah, he told me he's married. It's not working. He's going to divorce her and marry me. That was her response to
her
brother-in-law. That, yeah, he actually told me he's married, but it's not working. He's going to divorce her and get married to me. So hearing that and everything, but at some point I heard rumors in the community that her coming to my house was some kind of like a setup for her to, come provoke me. That way I get into a fight with her. They would, take a video of me and her, like me attacking her. So basically I'll attack her. She will not do anything to defend herself. It will be more of like me attacking her. They will capture me on the video, take it to court and try to, sabotage me with it and get full custody for my son, proving that I'm a violent mom.
And you got that message from
someone in the community told me about that, confided and told me about that. Like, that was the whole plan. It was a setup.
Your husband?
Yes, was trying to set me up with his girlfriend.
And so he eventually packed out of the house that day.
He packed out of the house that day. He went out, but he left most of his stuff, like 95% of his stuff were in there. But he packed out, came back 2 days later to take his stuff, like what he had while he left. I said, well, I'm willing to do that, open the door for you to get your stuff. But I have to be honest with you, you have to come with the cops for me to open the door for you to get your stuff. Because it was very toxic at that point, bringing your girlfriend to the house and everything. So yeah, subsequently down the road, that happened in June. I filed for divorce officially November 27 of 2020. But it was at the height of COVID and everything. It took a while. But I think it extended and, took a very long time because my ex-husband was not collaborating. He did not fill out the forms on time, the ones that, because when I filed for the divorce, he was served. So I actually paid the cops to go serve him. When they served him, I think he had like 90 days or 30 days, I can't remember, it happened 5 years ago, to respond to paperwork. Respond with this side of the paperwork, like providing documents and everything, like, whatever documents I've served him with, I did serve him with, he had to fill the same documents and send out. But he did not. He was just, I guess, pretty much playing with time, thinking I was, the divorce was a joke or something like that. So for 6 months, the court did not hear from him. We have like the pre-trial, preliminary court hearings and all of that. They were like, you need to fill out your part of the divorce forms and send to the court, else we will go ahead and treat this case as uncontested.
Okay.
So when we had that meeting with the judge and the judge said, if you're not signing, if you're not, collaborating and producing paperwork, we will treat this case as uncontested. So when the judge said that, at that point, he went in, filled the paperwork, and there's one document in the process, like when you're filing for divorce, one of the documents we have is disclosure. So, and then there's another document that has to do with like debts. Do you guys have debts as a couple? How do we split them? So he said he wanted me to pay half of his student loans. He filled that form out and said he wanted me to pay half of his student loans. It's huge. It's a huge amount.
Do you know how much he had for student loan?
At that point, it was $355,000 US.
Student loan?
Yes, in student loans.
And he was still in school?
He was still in school.
Pharmacy school?
Before the divorce, he had graduated.
Okay.
He graduated, but he had not taken the board exam.
Okay.
But the student loan in total, as of the day that we went to court, was $355,000 US.
Okay.
He said he wanted me to take 50% of it.
Student loan.
No.
Student loan.
He wanted half of my 401k.
Okay.
And he also requested for
alimony.
Alimony. So people call it spousal maintenance, the same thing. He requested for that. But then before the divorce, I reached out to him. I said, because we did not communicate, we're not communicating frequently. It was via a text message. I said, you know what? I want this divorce to be uncontested.
Okay, peaceful.
So I want it to be peaceful. It did not work between us. That does not mean, we got to fight. But I want it to be uncontested. Just go without asking me for alimony. I'm not going to ask you child support. Just go our separate way. And we don't have much property anyway. So at the end of the day, it just didn't work.
And you sent this through text?
Yes, I did. I sent him a message. I even I had a conversation. We had a meeting. Myself, my son's godfather, and him, we had a meeting. 3 of us sat down. I was like, I want it to be uncontested. I don't want anything from you. Do not request anything from me. I'm going to just go. It did not work. And I'll count it a loss and move on from there. He said, no, I brought it to the US and I'll make you pay for it. And he told me he will request for alimony. I said, okay, fine then. I'll prefer to pay you alimony than to stay in a toxic and abusive relationship.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll file for the divorce. We went in for, when he requested for all of that, filed his paperwork and requested for half of my 401k. I didn't even have much in my 401k. I just remember I was a contractor and then got converted to an FTE. So yeah, I just had like $18,000 in my 401k. I didn't have much in there. Yeah, but he requested to get half of the 401k. He's souping at my account in Canada and all of that. So, because he said I got married to him when I had that account, but mind you, I had that account. I had moved to Canada 2013. I got married to you 2018. But then I did not have a prenup. I didn't. So he was trying to claim the money that I, had in my account at that point. And we went to court for the hearing. First things first, I pointed out that I'm his third wife. He's been married twice. And my attorney also had to fight for that and say, oh, you went to school, the decision for you to go to school, you made that decision before you met Rhoda. So regardless whether Rhoda was involved or not, you would have gone to school. Because the decision for you to go to school, you started going to school 2009. You met Rhoda 2015, you guys started dating, got married 2018. So that decision for you to go to school was your decision, was your sole decision, not in your life at that point. And when you actually were married and got a divorce from your first and your second wife, you were actively in school. So why didn't you ask them to pay part of your student loans? Why are you asking Rhoda to pay when she's literally a third wife? Not even the first, nor the second. The third wife, the first and the second should have some responsibility from the student loan because you were actively in school when you got married and when you divorced them. And what protected me was the fact that he was in school before he met me. Thank God for that, because it would have been $355,000 divided by 2. That's huge. I did not go to school in the US. I should not be paying for someone else's student loans. Also, the judge said the 401k is just $19,000 and it's probably $18,000. So we're not going to give you half of it. And before we went to court, though we were still married, he had taken the engagement ring. And when we went to court, my attorney was pushing for the fact that that's a gift. You gave it to Rhoda as a gift. You are supposed to give Rhoda back the ring. If you don't have the ring, you're supposed to pay for the price of the ring, full price of the ring. So my attorney asked me, like, how much do you think would be the cost of the ring? But I pushed back. I said, no, I don't want the ring. I don't want anything. I just want to check out. But because he was coming for me and fighting to get stuff from me, my attorney was like, as he's coming for you, we got to do something. So we got to make him pay for the ring that he got from you. And when we went to court, the judge was like, yeah, I know, I understand. I see that it's a gift. It's supposed to stay with Rhoda. He doesn't have the ring anymore, but I'm not going to make him pay for the ring because I'm not giving him part of Rhoda's 401k. He has the right to keep the ring. So he kept his ring, which is fine by me.
You kept your 401k? I
kept my 401k. That was okay by me because I didn't want it, to be honest with you, because he had taken the ring while we were still actively married. So it was messy. I ended up paying him alimony. I paid alimony. They ordered me to pay $1,397.
That's almost $1,400.
Almost $1,400 every month. And I was supposed to pay him for 15 months. But because he was owing me back child support from the time he left the house until I filed for divorce, he was not taking care of the child. It was just me. So they had to give me some credit and ask him to pay me back child support. So he was owing me roughly $6,000 during the divorce for back child support. So the judge basically, what she did was offset it. Instead of paying him for 15 months, I ended up paying him alimony for 9 months. And yeah, that was it. He got alimony from me, and that's the only thing. He was ordered to pay me child support for $697
every month.
Every month.
And you were paying him $1,300 plus every month.
I was paying him $1,300 for alimony every month. Yes. But
and you did that for 9 months.
I did that for 9 months without missing a payment.
Okay.
Yeah, but the first 6 months that I paid him alimony, I did not get any child support from him. He was out of the country in Cameroon for 6 months. but did not pay me child support for the first 6 months. So the child support office tried to reach out. They could not get a hold of him. They contacted the last place where he had worked. I think it was Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
They said he no longer worked there. He doesn't work there anymore. But when he came back here, I guess he filed taxes and his taxes were garnished. That's how I got the first child support, when he filed for taxes. And that got garnished and was given to me. And it was not enough because it was like, even after I got some money, it was pending like $1,500. So I guess the taxes was not enough to pay off what he was owing me for the first 6 months for child support. Mm-hmm. But then, to be honest with you, I was thinking that filing for divorce would really help me get out of an abusive marriage. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, it did not solve the problem. It didn't.
So are you saying that post-divorce there's still abuse ongoing?
I think it's even more than when I was married to him. I have to be serious.
Can you explain?
Post-separation abuse is real. So after the divorce, I was like, hey, I'm out. I'm living my life. I'm so happy to be out. Nobody's controlling me, trying to take my life. Mm-hmm. Far from that. I have been in court since 2023 with my ex-husband. It's been back and forth, filing one frivolous motion to the other. Your Honor, she's alienating me. She doesn't want me to see my son. She's keeping my son away from me. This is a man, mind you, who did not want to have anything to do with his son. This might sound funny or crazy, but that's the truth. I'm not sure if I mentioned the part where for our son's first birthday, he asked me to pay him before he could attend our son's birthday. Everything for him was transactional. He asked me to pay him. So he was working as a pharmacist, as a farm tech. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm working today at 10 hours. I'm making $18 an hour. If you want me to attend JJ's birthday, you have to pay me $10 times 10. So you have to give me $180. And he added, I'm just going to give you a flat rate. So give me $180. I'm not talking about other things that should be included. So literally, you're asking me to pay you to attend your son's birthday. Mm-hmm. Not only that, when he's home, I'm not going to work. I got to go to work. I said, now that you're home, I don't have to go to the babysitter to drop Janus. Can you stay home with Janus? No. Why? You're paying the babysitter. If I'm staying home with Janus, you got to pay me.
And you paid him?
I didn't. How do I pay you to babysit your own child? Make it make sense. I said no.
Okay.
I took the child to the babysitter. I can't pay the babysitter and then I'm paying you to babysit your own son for me to go to work. That's impossible. So I said no. So after the divorce and everything, now all of a sudden he developed so much love for his son. And he will go to court, file motions to tell the judge, I'm alienating him. I don't want him to be in his son's life. I don't want him to see his son. There was a time he filed a motion and said, for every time that I did not bring his son, I should pay $100.
How often is he supposed to have his time with?
So right now he has every Wednesday, and then he has every other weekend.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have more custody.
So, but do you kind of prevent that from happening?
Never.
So how come he's filing all these motions?
Well, I would say the court system too, they let him file. You will file a motion, they just cannot stop. They cannot stop people from filing motions. But when you file a motion, you have to have evidence to support your claim, right? Mm-hmm. So you cannot go to court today and file a motion and the judge will say, hey, maybe you can't file this motion, take it out. They will let you file. You come in and explain your case. So when he filed that motion, I literally saw myself going to court, standing in front of a judge, pleading my case. Some things that I saw in the movies, it happened to me. I went to court 2023, stood in front of the judge, and he read some pages to me and said, guilty or not guilty. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I stood there and my attorney said, you tell them not guilty, I will prove our case. Because he had filed a motion and said, I'm preventing him from seeing his son, and he wants me. Because, not him saying he wants me to go to jail. Basically, if you're found guilty,
you go to jail.
For contempt of court.
Okay.
You can go to jail for up to a year.
Okay.
For contempt of court. So he filed a motion saying I'm preventing him from seeing his son. And of course, he brought that up and said one of the consequences for contempt of court in this situation with his attorney, they said it's jail time for up to a year. So I went to court, pleaded my case and said not guilty. So I put up paperwork with my attorney and everything. And one of the times that we went to court, the judge was like, "You're sporadic. You're in and out of your son's life. So going forward, if you want to see your son, you got to let the mother know, give her 48 hours notice. If you want to see the son, your son, and even if you don't want to see your son, it has to be 48 hours notice."
Okay.
So he was not doing that, but he wanted to see his son. You don't tell me you want to see, you don't have to give me, so for example, you have to see your son on Wednesday. You have to tell me on Monday that you're seeing your son on Wednesday, right? That's 48 hours. He doesn't want to do that, but he wants me to show up. And mind you, just because I wanted to promote that relationship and wanted our son to have a relationship with his dad, I will show up regardless of the notice, for the 8 hours notice. I will show up.
So, are you saying, although the court order had given him like every other weekend and every Wednesday,
Right.
Sometimes he will not show up even when you take the child?
Yes. Yes, I have people who can testify in so many different instances. I went there, no call, no show. But at that point, I can't do him anything. You know why? He didn't give me a notice that he want to see his son. I was the one who showed up. So I can't do anything to him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I cannot. He did not give me a notice that he wanted to see his son, but because I wanted him to be involved, to be in his son's life, I will show up regardless.
Right.
But there are times that I will text him and say, "Hey, you know what? I have an appointment. I have something that I'm doing on Wednesday, and I can't bring Janos." You know what I mean? Like, things happen, Before having kids, we have a life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I told him I can't bring the child on a Wednesday or maybe a weekend because something came up, I notify him that I'm not bringing. It's not like I don't just show up. I let him know that this is what is going on. I can't show. Maybe I have an emergency. Sometimes I wake up in the morning. Things happen. It was there. I got up and I got a flat tire. 2 of my tires. Picked up a knee and I could not go. So I sent him a message saying, "Hey, I can't show up today." You know what he did? Every time I tell him I'm unavailable, when he tells me, sometimes he will say he's not available. It's okay. I don't do anything. When I tell him I'm not available, it's a huge problem. He called the cops and told the cops, "Oh, I don't know where she is. I've been trying to reach her. I don't know where my son is. Oh my God, my son. She's alienating me from my son. I can't even see my son. I cannot begin to tell you how many times the cops have come here to hit on my door that they are checking on the child that the dad called. That's abuse. That's harassment. Because I told you I'm not available. You should not be sending people over to my place. I'm a black woman living in this community. Every time they get to see the cops park in front of my house, people are asking questions. You are now literally using the cops to harass me because you cannot harass me by yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm dealing with. Even after the divorce, I was thinking the divorce, I'll have peace and rest. It's been back to back in the courtroom.
Yeah.
I cannot begin to tell you how much I've spent so far in attorney fees. It's a lot of money involved. It's a lot of money. I'm drained from getting to go back to court with him, filing frivolous motions and all of that.
And you told me currently you guys are still in court.
Yes, we are still in court.
Why?
He went back to court, requested for shared custody. He said he wanted 50-50.
Okay.
But I have to be honest with you, I'm pushing back for the 50-50 because my son at some point went to school and, there was some kind of inappropriate behavior at school. And he had reported to me, I'll not be shy to say this. He reported to me that he shares a bed when he goes there some weekends with his dad and the dad's girlfriend. Mind you, it's the same girlfriend who came to my house. They're currently living together. And my son goes there for the weekend. They're sharing the bed with my son. He went to school and there was some inappropriate behavior. So as a mom, I was concerned. I said, you cannot be asking for 50-50 when you're currently sharing a bed with your girlfriend and my son. He goes to school, the behavior, there was some inappropriate behavior at school and I was called. CPS was involved. Your work schedule doesn't even permit you to have shared custody. So what are you doing? You work 8 to 7. Are you able to pick him up from school? Are you able to do all of this? Are you requesting 50-50 because you want someone else to be doing it for you or you really have time to do it? So as a mom looking at all of those factors, I said, at this point, I don't think 50-50 is a solution because I don't see it happening from his end. I have before and after school for my son.
Program.
Yes, I do. I work from 8 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I drop him off before I go to work. He takes the bus from the daycare to school and from school back to the daycare. So that's the before and after program for him. What do you have in place?
Mm-hmm.
You're depending on other people. You're depending on your mom and your girlfriend to do the job for you. I cannot put my son's life into, if it's not you doing the job, why do you want to take 50-50 when other people will be doing the job for you? Mm-hmm. So I said no to 50-50. He requested for a CFI. And the CFI is now free. The amount for the CFI was actually $3,250.
Mm-hmm.
They said both of us are making money and they had to split the cost. We paid 50-50.
Okay.
That's the financial abuse after the divorce I'm talking about. Right. Taking me to court every time for me to stand in front of the judge and plead my case. I'm not going there alone. I'm going there with an attorney. And I'm paying her.
Right.
That's the financial abuse I've been to in and out of court since 2023. With I think it's 2022 if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
It's taking a toll on me. Right. Leave me alone. You cheated on me, abused me physically, emotionally, financially. You brought your girlfriend to the house.
Mm-hmm.
You currently live with the girlfriend. Just leave me alone. Focus on your new supply. Leave me alone. Focus on your son.
It's kind of surprising to hear that he's sharing a bed with your son and his girlfriend. Yes. How old is your son?
6.
Wow.
He's 6. And it's not the first time. It's not the first time. I've got emails from school for the inappropriate behavior.
Okay.
And it happens when he comes back and reports to me, oh, Mama, this weekend, me and my dad and his girlfriend, in his words, slept on the same bed.
Okay.
And I'm getting an email from school. JJ did this at school. At 6, it's disturbing.
Yeah, it's disturbing. So, you said when you filed for divorce, right? At this point, it dawned on him that you don't want the marriage anymore.
That's right.
So, did he at any point reach out to your family?
Initially, when I filed for the divorce, he didn't. In the process of the divorce, waiting to hear from the judge and all of that, he lost his dad in the process. I mean, he's been sick on and off. Mm-hmm. So at that point, when all of that was going on, my family reached out to him, and called condolences. Mm-hmm. That's when he opened up and he, talked a little bit about the divorce and everything, that I had filed for divorce and blah, blah, blah. My dad was aware of the divorce, that I had filed for divorce. But I kept it from my mom for personal reasons. Mm-hmm. Not something that I would not want to share, but because more from the place like, give it some time, marriage. You know how some of our African...
He probably would have told you to stay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I told my dad about it. So he was very much aware that I filed for divorce. And also he opened up, talked about it a little bit with my dad. And my dad said, well, that's something we can talk about later. But right now, let's focus on what we have, going on. Then that was pretty much it. So he had told them that when he goes back home for the funeral program and everything, he will reach out to them and, invite them to come over. That did not happen for me, which is okay, because at that point, they were no longer in-laws anymore. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. But then that was pretty much it. He did not really open up to talk about everything that had happened, the abuse and everything. But my dad at some point knew of the abuse, and I would say witnessed it. There was a time I was talking with my dad on the phone. Mm-hmm. He came in and he was just, throwing words and calling me names, and he called me a goat. Okay. And my dad heard that, and he was really pissed. So he was very much aware of the, some of the things that I told him, and backtracking to the part where, I had to renew my immigration paperwork, like my green card. Mm-hmm. You know how you get married, and if it's less than 2 years, they give you the temporary green card. Mm-hmm. And after 2 years, you have to go prove that you're married. So he had told me that we're not divorced, but he told me he was not going to sign it. and he did not sign it. So most of the people that I, was interacting with told me it's going to be pretty much hard for you to get like your 10 years green card because the petitioner backed out. They said they don't want to sign anymore. So what are you even doing? As a Canadian citizen, the advice would be you go back to Canada. But I had a life here in the US. I got a job. I had my son, and I love it here. So I insisted, and I fought for my green card. So I sat down. I had called attorneys and advised, and actually met one. I got to meet them through a friend. Spoke to them, and they told me the route, how to go about it, and everything. I put those documents together, and basically I wrote my story to the immigration, exposing the abuse. Told them what I went through, and least I forget, his mom had given him a restraining order. Because most of the things he did to me, he did them to the mom too, and the mom could not stand it, went to court and requested for a protection order against him. So I had a copy of that, and some of the destruction, my clothes, my laptop, my cheat sheet. There was a time he packed my stuff, I put them in the hallway and asked me to leave the house. So I kind of like downloaded those videos, put them in the flash drive, wrote a letter to the immigration, attaching just proof of the abuse, the evidence and everything. And interestingly, I did not have to go for an interview. I just sat at home. I had my 10 years green card.
Okay.
Yeah,
after you sent all those
I sent all the evidence of the abuse and explaining the story, I wrote the letter to the immigration, like 6 pages. I still have it.
Right.
With the immigration.
Right.
So that's huge.
Right.
So, but interestingly, after the divorce and everything, and me just coming out once in a while, I'll use my platform. So maybe my WhatsApp show to share my story. I got a lot of backlash, especially from women in my community, saying I'm making up the story. The divorce did not happen. My ex-husband is a very calm, quiet, collected, and generous man. I'm making up all those things and trying to shut me down.
Okay.
But I know what I experienced firsthand.
Right.
I know what I went through with him. I know the abuse. There are days I'll come back to the house and he's locked us out. I have to call the cops to come open the door for me. Okay. My son and I will be locked out of the house. The abuse was intense. So for me to come out and try to use my platform to share my story, to sensitize and, raise awareness for other women that narcissistic abuse and domestic violence is real. And for women in particular in my community. And for them to try to shut me down was something that I did not even find funny.
Right.
And what I realized at some point was most of the women in my community who are trying to shut me down and trying to, make me feel guilty that what I'm saying, I'm not supposed to be doing that. I'm not going to speak for them, but some of them in some way, form or shape are going through what I went through. Okay. They are going through what I went through. But I was thinking, me being a voice for women, women who are going through domestic violence or in abusive relationship, it would be a good thing for other women to look at the signs and be like, okay.
Stand for you.
Yeah, but that's not what I got in the first place. It was a lot of backlash. Oh, she talks too much. Oh, it's not right. The guy in question is a very kind guy. She should be the problem. But that did not stop me. I'm using my platform. I'm sharing my story with other women. I have had women, I just posted something on my Facebook, my status or on WhatsApp. And a lot of women, I don't want to call names, reached out to me to say, Rhoda, if nobody believe you, I do believe you. Right. Because I'm going through exactly what you went through. Right. And I've been able to use my platform to share my story and help other women leave. I have women who reached out to me and say, you know what? I'm filing for divorce. I can't take this anymore. I need an attorney. Can you help me? Right. My attorney has helped 2 or 3 other people that I know to get out of an abusive marriage, help them file for divorce. I'm grateful. I'm alive. I'm able to tell my story. Right. But the truth is, I cannot forget what I experienced with my ex-husband, the abuse. Right. Wrapping my head with a king-size comforter and trying to suffocate me.
You had told me behind the scene that, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because you said women were kind of like leaning towards him, supporting him, that he's calm, In our behind the scene conversation, you said he went as far as making your family members and friends to against you.
Yes, I have. I during the course of the divorce, like before I filed for divorce, I had a big fight with my sister. My sister's in Germany.
What happened?
So he reached out to my sister. We were just having a conversation at home. I think I had a conversation with my sister earlier, and we're fighting about something.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came home, I was really pissed. As my husband, I was explaining the situation to him, and I said, "This sister of mine really got me pissed today, and in the past, this is what she had done to me, and blah 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 blah." Just family dynamics, just sharing it with him, how I got to that point of being, why I was really pissed that day with my sister. And I shared some story, some background story, of my relationship with my sister with him.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were fighting at home and all the abuse was going on, what I had confided in him about my sister, he took it to my sister. My sister was pissed and started insulting me, to him. And he was like, "No, you don't have to type. Can you send me a recording? Can you send me a voice note of the things that you want to tell me about your sister?"
Mm-hmm.
So my sister was sending insults to him about me, via recorded messages on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And during the divorce, he brought it to court and was trying to paint me with it, saying, "Oh, she's really a bad person. This is what her sister, own sister, blood sister, have to say about her." And the judge was like, "This is not about you guys' family. It's about both of you and your son." Mm-hmm. So that evidence will not be admitted in court, and they threw it out.
Okay.
So, and he also reached out to my cousin in Germany, too, saying some of the stuff that I did not say, that I said that I really did not have a great relationship with that cousin of mine. But in my head, I'm like, truth be told, if you really think I'm your sister, when I was married, this guy, you guys did not have that relationship where you communicated over the phone. Why is it that after my divorce, he's interested in telling you the things that he's claiming I told him about you? Lost a lot of friends in the process of the divorce and everything, but I read it somewhere that if during the course of a divorce, if you're losing friends or family members, they were never yours in the first place.
Okay.
And I'm sticking to that. You were never on my side in the first place, so I have nothing to worry about.
Right.
And right now, what has helped me all these years, and people ask me, "You went through all this, you're still striving, you're looking good. What are you doing?" Simple. My mental health is important to me. I go for therapy. This is something people don't talk about. They're like, "Oh, hearing that somebody's going for therapy, they feel like, okay, you're going crazy or something." No.
You shared a couple of conversation where he went to the is it parent app you guys call it?
Yes, the talking parent. That's where we communicate.
Talking parent.
Yes, talking parents.
And he was kind of like insulting you there, insulting your family, and you guys even still in court.
Yes.
And the last one you sent to me, I was kind of surprised. Like, why did he just wake up out of his sudden and he was giving you a rundown of your family? What did something kind of trigger him?
I'm guessing what triggered him was because I told him. So when my son reported to me the weekend prior that he shared a bed with him and his girlfriend, I reached out to him. I texted him via the app. And then the principal of the school, after there was some, inappropriate behavior from JJ's side, sent her an email, and I had a conversation, like 45-minute conversation with the principal, explaining what I know and what he had shared with me the weekend prior to the incident. And I think that email was sent to him as well. So he went to school trying to do some kind of damage control, but the email was already out, considering the fact that we have a CFI on the case right now that he requested for. I guess he was trying to do some kind of damage control or something. He reached out to me via the app saying, "Oh, Janus, he got a report from school about Janus. Can we meet and talk about it?" And I was like, the only way to resolve this issue is for you to stop sharing a bed with him and your girlfriend. It's that simple. If he really has a room in your house, you can cross over to sleep with him. You don't have to share a bed with him and your girlfriend. Yes, it escalated, and he started calling me names, and the message that I forwarded to you, I shared with you.
You mentioned earlier that you're not going to lie. You've been going through counseling, and that has been very helpful. Else, probably you'd have had like a mental breakdown.
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, the question I would like to ask is, after everything you've been through, do you feel you have truly found peace?
That's a tough one. I have to be honest with you. Initially, when I filed for divorce, 2020, I knew I was, that was the end of it. I'm checking out. I'm going to be leaving an abusive man behind. I'll check out with my son, then I'll be good. Many years down the road, that's not the case. I keep going back to court. I'm seeing the financial abuse. I'm seeing the emotional abuse. Of course, there's no physical abuse because we're no longer in the same place, right? But it's more of the emotional abuse, using my son against me, using my son to fight me. And it's just not him doing that. It's both of them. When I say both of them, you know what I mean? I think I'm in a place where checking out, divorcing, and I just wanted him to just leave me alone.
Okay.
But that's not the picture.
Okay.
That's not what is going on. It's more of like there's emotional abuse right now.
Okay.
There's financial abuse through the court system.
Okay.
It's been harassment using the cops, using the court system.
Okay.
Using the court to fight me, to threaten me. Okay. I'm going to send you to jail. So imagine you telling me you send me to jail. You file a motion for me to go to jail, that I'm alienating you from your son. And that did not work. That around the same period, our son's birthday was coming up. That happened in October. Second week of November, you had our son for his birthday, and you're inviting me over to come for the birthday, that we should be there for him. I don't know if I'm making sense. What are you doing? If I truly went to jail, would you be calling me out of jail to come celebrate? I just want him to leave me alone.
Okay.
I want my ex-husband to focus on our son.
Okay.
Let's go through this thing called co-parenting. Not the only person in this community who is divorced. Okay. We are a lot of women and men in this community who are divorced. Why is my case so special? Okay. That's a question you should be asking yourself. Okay. There's nothing special about me. I just want to go out there and live my life without having to worry. I sleep in my house at 11 p.m. The cops are knocking on my door. Okay, let's go back to a scenario where he had informed me that he'll be going to Europe to visit his family with our son. And because I have our son's passport, I was like, sure, why not? But knowing who he is, I said, I'm going to write an undertaking. I will go in front of a notary and we sign that when you come back from Germany, you have to give me the child and the passport on the same day. And in a situation where you cannot find the passport, we'll declare it like the passport is lost, and we'll have to apply for a new passport. Just that, because when I know when he comes back without any official document, he will now give me the passport. So we went in front of a notary. I paid, gave him the child and the passport. He went to Germany. While he was out there in Germany, I gave my son a phone because I wanted to be communicating with him. I tell you the truth, I'll call, they don't pick up. The 7 hours difference, Germany and the US. He knows that my first meeting is 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. Denver time, you're calling me that the son, Janus wants to talk to me. I'm in a meeting. And after that meeting, I'm calling right back. So there was like us playing a phone tag. I try to call, they don't pick. They try to call me out in the meeting. And I cried. I called my, she's like an elder sister to me. She's in Canada. I cried. I said, I haven't been able to talk to Janus. This is the first time he's getting away from me for 2 weeks. It's hard. I need to be able to talk to him. And she was like, take your mind off it. They know that you want to talk to Janus so bad because this is the first time he's going away for that long. And they're playing with you. So what is going to happen is take your mind off it and just say you see Janus when you see Janus when he's back here.
Okay.
So I took my mind off it. I stopped calling Janus.
Okay.
You know what happened?
No.
He literally called the cops, told the cops my son has been trying to reach me. I'm not picking up the phone. They should come over to my house. Send them over to my place. This is August 14 of 2024. He was in Germany with the child. The cops came to my house, knocking on my door. We are worried. The dad sent us to check on you.
Whereas you've been reaching out to
I've
them.
been reaching out. I have evidence that I've been calling. There was a day I called 10 times. I was so frustrated. I wanted to talk to my son so bad. That was the first time he was getting away for 2 weeks. I was unable to talk to him. After, the back and forth, the phone tag, you call the cops and tell them, my son has been trying to reach me and I'm not picking.
Right.
You have to try, even if the child is trying to call me and I'm not picking. Why would you send the cops over to my place? Do you see the pattern of harassment that I'm talking about?
Yes.
I don't have the child. You don't have the child. I have the child, but I will use the child to fight you. That's the pattern of harassment that I'm praying that the family court should see. That's the post-separation abuse that I'm praying that it should be glaring to the family court as it is glaring to me.
You've, and truly from the story you've shared, you've been through intense emotional, physical, and mental struggle. I know you said you just want him to leave you alone.
I want him to leave me alone.
For you guys to focus on your son.
Right.
But I'd like to know, have you been able to forgive him?
I'm in a place where right now, everything that he did, the abuse, I think he was, in his head, he was bringing me to the US to frustrate me and do all of that. Mm-hmm. Looking back, I have my son. Looking back, in terms of my career, though he tried to destroy it and stuff like that, coming to my job, sending the email and all of that. 6 years down the road, I still have it. Mm-hmm. I'm compared to when I was in Canada. Mm-hmm. My life in the US, I would say, took a different turn. You know what I mean? Even though I went through what I went through, after like 4 years in the US, I was able to buy a place. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's been a blessing in disguise, actually. So I've forgiven him. Mm-hmm. I just want us to move past this place, be in a place where the focus will be our son, co-parenting without any struggle. Mm-hmm. And for him to, like I said, for him to leave me alone.
Okay.
That's all. I just want my ex-husband to leave me alone.
Okay.
Because now the abuse is in a subtle way now. It's through the cops.
Okay.
And the court order says no third party during drop-off or pick-up. Mm-hmm. He comes with his girlfriend. They'll come out of the car, take the child. They're kissing in front of me. Mm-hmm. That doesn't bother me. I'm worried more for my son. Because if I wanted to be there, I wouldn't have filed for divorce in the first place. Stop using the court to fight me. Stop using the cops to harass me in my house. I'm sleeping at 11. Imagine sleeping at 11 p.m. and the cops are ringing your doorbell that they're here. Sometimes you'll say, oh, like there was a Thanksgiving. He said he was supposed to spend Thanksgiving with the child, 2023, Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. He told me, Mrs. said, I'm not available. I cannot spend Thanksgiving with him. I'm like, okay, fine. I decided to keep the child. And then on Wednesday in the evening, you said, oh, you're not working anymore. You need the child. I said, oh, well, I made plans already. If you want, you can have him over the weekend. Oh, no, I want to have him for Thanksgiving. I said, but you told me you're not available. You're just changing the plans right now. Mm-hmm. I already made plans with the child. You know what he did? Mm-hmm. He turned around and called the cops on me that I don't want to give him his son. The cops called me, open talking parents, write the message to them that this is what he sent to me on this day. And then on this day, he said he changed his mind. But I had plans already. So how am I? And I offered him the weekend. So that's more of using the cops, using the family court system to fight me.
So now that you are telling and sharing your story, do you think sharing your story as part of your journey towards complete freedom?
I'm not sure if I would say it's complete freedom. Okay. It's more of me sharing the story to raise awareness, because I tell you the truth, There are a lot of women out there. I'm not saying men don't go through domestic violence or narcissistic abuse from women. They do. They do, but majority of the time, it's more of the men towards women. And I'm sharing from my perspective as a woman who went through it. I'm not going to speak for the men. I'm speaking for the women, considering the fact that I'm one of the women who went through it. I'm not going to sit here and say sharing my story. It's a path to complete freedom. There's a lot of work that has to be done.
Okay.
A lot of work in the sense that the other party or my ex-husband should come to the realization that
It's done.
it's done. Nobody's fighting him. Besides, Janus is not his only child. He has a 10-year-old daughter.
Really?
Yes, he has a 10-year-old daughter. That's the part of him that people don't know. I'm not sitting here to expose him, but Janus is his second child.
Okay.
I mean, I wish he could share the energy that he has to fight me. About Janus, he can use that to fight for the other. He doesn't even really care about the other one.
Okay.
The fight has been more on Janus.
Okay.
Not like he really cares, but because he want to use my son to fight me. Like I said, I'm not gonna say this is a path to complete freedom. It's more of like me, sharing my story, and the steps that I use to escape, and just raising awareness to other women that, there's always a light. There will always be light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay.
Feel free to check out. It's better for you to check out when you are alive.
Okay.
That way you are able to tell your story than check out in the body bag, because no one heard your story. So it's an opportunity for you to come out and, dust yourself up. I mean, God has blessed me so much so that I look at the things that happen to me and I'm like, it's truly a blessing in disguise. So many women who are not able to tell the story because they came back in a body bag.
Right.
I'm here. I'm able to tell my story.
Thank you so much, for coming on this platform. I really, really appreciate that. I pray that everything goes well with you, because you said currently you guys are in court for the custody battle. So I pray that finally, I pray that the court will at least put an end to this back and forth dragging, so you all can peacefully, raise your son. Sometimes parents don't understand that their marital problem sometimes then has more effects on their children than them,